Welcome to today's session, Project Management Fundamentals and Agile Basics. So this will be our first part of this series where we'll be discussing on Project Management Fundamentals and Agile Basics. And this is to equip you with the knowledge and skills that you require so that you can be able to manage projects effectively and efficiently. So this program is brought to you by Launcher, Center for Project Management. Our web address is launchup.africa and our email address are there and our telephone number. You can always reach to us for any question, any clarification, and for any services that is related to project management. And I'm Ezra Nyaiga, and I'll be presenting to you this first bit of this session. So the first aspect that we usually ask ourselves, what is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. A temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. So try to figure out whatever you are undertaking. Is it creating a unique product, service, or a given result? It typically has a defined beginning and an end when you have such endeavors. It has specific objectives which needs to be achieved. It has also the constraint in terms of timelines, in terms of cost, and the resources that you'll be utilizing. And one thing you realize when we discuss this aspect of project management, when we talk about resource, there is more that goes into it. Talking about personnel, talking about equipment and materials per se, that are very key to delivering that project. And projects sometimes are very complex, and they involve a number of stakeholders, a number of tasks, a number of activities that need to be coordinated so that you are able to achieve that desired outcome. So when you talk about projects, it can again vary because it will depend on the scope of the project, which can be from small scale activities or initiatives to large multi endeavors. Talk about building construction, software development, all those are very key projects that are being undertaken. So key characteristics of projects, one, it is that it is temporary in nature. Projects have a defined beginning and end. Once the project is able to meet its objectives, we terminate or we close that project. And we are able to highlight that the project is complete. That is, it is temporal. It has unique deliverables. Projects are aimed at creating a distinct product, a service, or a given result which is different from routine operations. And most of the time, a project produces something new or something that is different than the one that is existing. Another characteristic is that it has specific objectives, because projects are undertaken so that they can be able to achieve a specific goal. The objectives that you provide or the objectives of that project must be very clear, and they are able to provide a direction to the project team and the stakeholders who are implementing that project. And of course, as we will keep on with our study, we'll be able to highlight on the criteria of the objectives. Cross-functional teams. Projects usually involve people or individual, we talk about personnel from different functional areas or different departments, different disciplines, different organizations sometimes. And these different people have to collaborate so that they can be able to accomplish the project goals. And why involve these diverse or the cross-functional teams is that they are able to bring together the various expertise and perspectives that would not be available in a single individual, that would not be available in a given discipline alone or a department. Resource constraints. Projects are executed within constraints, and we have highlighted the constraint. You have heard of the triple triangle. Talk about time, budget, resources, of course, within that scope of the project that has been defined. Risk and uncertainty. Projects have varying degree of uncertainty, varying degrees of risks, which can be from changing of the requirements, technology advancements, and like now in this era that we are in, market conditions, and even some of unforeseen events or circumstances. So managing risks is very integral when it comes to projects. Another characteristic is progressive elaboration. So projects do evolve over a period of time. So you realize at the moment the concept or the project is initiated, it may not be necessarily the same concept at the end of the project. Why? Because over time, more information become available or requirements change. And as they do that, the project plans and the deliverables for that given project, you keep on refining them. And as you refine them and as you adjust the project throughout the entire life of the project, so you realize that there is that progressive elaboration as you get more information. In the dependent activities, projects have a numerous activities that need to be undertaken and tasks. And we have said that these tasks and activities need to be coordinated. And you realize that there is a relationship that exists between the different activities that are being undertaken in that given project. So that sequence, that the coordination that needs to be undertaken, and in most of the time you find you have to complete one task for you to be able to start another task and for you to continuously do that to have a successful execution of the project. That interdependence of activities do exist in projects. Stakeholder involvement, we usually highlight during our study that stakeholder are at the center when it comes to project management, because we involve these people, these stakeholders, these organizations. Why? Because they have a vested interest in the project's outcome. So effective communication and engagement with the stakeholders is very essential for project success. Last but not least is governance structure. Projects usually have a defined governance structure which is able to outline what are the roles, what are the responsibilities, what are the decision-making processes, what are the reporting mechanisms. That structure is very key because it enables accountability and oversight throughout the life of the project. So understanding these characteristics will be able to help you as a project manager or as a team member to be able to effectively manage projects and ensure that you have a successful completion of those projects. Maybe what are some of the examples of projects or the types of projects that exist so that you can be able to appreciate? So we have construction projects. And of course, I've been able to highlight that projects can vary, and that depends in terms of the nature, the size, the complexity, and it can be in any industry, in any sector, and of course in an organization per se. So we do have construction projects, software development projects, event management projects, marketing campaign projects, research projects, organizational change project, infrastructure upgrade project, humanitarian aid projects, film production project, community development projects. So this is just to highlight, to show you that when you talk about a project, it is not fixed in a given industry. It is not fixed in a given sector. For instance, in the construction projects, you can have a residential apartment complex, which will involve the aspect of designing, construction, um, zoning approval, among other aspects. Talk about highway bridge over a river, trying to connect or to interconnect between two areas. Talk about uh, office buildings. Talk about hospital renovations or trying to uh, come up with a new modern hospital. Talk about sports and stadium. All those are construction projects. Software development projects. Talk about mobile banking applications, a custom CRM system, e-commerce websites, AI chatbots, rigorous app rewrite. So there are a number of software. Talk about company websites. In the event management projects, talk about the corporate AGM. Um, you know, the AGM is not just uh, something that just happen. It has to go through formal meeting planning, looking at the venue aspects, bookings, presentations, look at the aspect of catering, looking at the stakeholder communications. There's a lot that goes into that. We be able to take it as a project. Talk about conferences, the multi-day event, whereby you have the keynote speakers, you have vendor booths, you have tech demos, you have all other aspects, you have different sponsorships. Under events, you can talk about destination weddings, and even highlighting all the music festivals. These are large public events. They require proper planning, artist booking, stage design, crowd control, vendor coordination. Those are more aspects that come into when it comes to event management. And even charity gala, whereby you're trying to have fundraising events. What about marketing campaigns? So let's say you have a new product that you're trying to launch. You want to, that's a project on its own. You have the cross-platform campaign, trying to realize using TV, digital ads, PR, and even in-store promotions. And you realize that there's a lot that will go into that. You'll be highlighting in terms of the personnel that you need, their skill set, the planning, the scope of that uh, campaign, the timeline, the budget, who will be involved. Sometimes people have social media contests, rebranding campaigns, influencer partnerships, lead generation campaign. All those are projects that can be undertaken. Research projects. Talk about clinical drug trial, climate change study, where you're talking about the entire study from field data collection, modeling, analysis. What about consumer behavior study as a project? Sustainable packaging, AI stock predictions. We have organizational change projects. During the COVID-19, organizations tried to change on how they used to operate. And one of the ways they changed is now to implement the remote work policy. That, of course, brought about a project where you start now to implementation of the tools, utilization of Zoom, Slack, uh, Teams, providing training so now they can be able to use that, and providing changes to on how performance will be measured on all those aspects. Assume there is an overhaul within an organization, or you are trying to update the performance system, where you're trying to introduce continuous feedback tools or the OKRs instead of annual reviews. You are trying to centralize the HR services. So you have talked about the payroll, the recruiting, um, and because the organization has multiple departments, as divisions, branches. What about the digital customer service, where you're trying to introduce um, new services, for instance, AI chat, support tickets, infrastructure upgrade projects. You realize we have construction projects where infrastructure falls in, where you are starting a new project from start, but then we have existing infrastructures that needs to be upgraded. Talk about the water treatment system, airport modernization, um, electric grid, where you're trying to upgrade, um, replacing the poles, transformers, um, enhancing the power reliability and safety. What about broadband expansion, where you're trying to install fiber optic cables, EV charging, now that we are moving into e-mobility. So it can be on upgrades of infrastructure. It goes into humanitarian aid. We have projects in the humanitarian aid. Talk about um, disaster relief, um, supplies, um, healthcare for displaced people, hygiene kit distributions, conflict zone education, clean water access. All those are projects that can be undertaken in the humanitarian sector. Film production projects, about the romantic comedy features, wild drive documentaries, talk about uh, short horror film, car commercial, animated movies. All those are projects under the film production. We have community development projects, which can be community center construction, where you're trying maybe to build a multi-purpose facility for recreation, learning, and even holding events. Uh, Talk about urban gardening program, the youth mentorship initiative, the affordable housing initiative or development, the clean energy, clean water initiative. And these are those initiatives that are developed and created, and they are owned and managed by the local communities. So you can be able to see that when you talk about projects, they are not constrained or only located, or your mind should not only shift towards construction projects. There are a wide range of projects that can be undertaken. And now that you have been able to learn on what a project is, the characteristics of projects, the key characteristics of projects, and the examples of projects that may exist. So try to figure out, are you involved in the project space? Or are you interested into the project space whereby you can be able to manage projects effectively? So we have courses that we offer. We have courses in the project management professional, certified associate in project management, risk management professional, and program management professional. So if you are interested in any of these courses, you can reach out and we can be able to help you um, in the journey of you becoming certified. We'll be having a session in this month of May, and that is the Project Management Professional, the PMP Masterclass. The training fee is $300, or that 5,000 Kenya shilling, and our coverage includes the entire masterclass training. We provide you revision materials, we'll give you simulation tests, and we'll guide you step by step until you become certified. And guess what we have added? you'll be able to get 200 plus templates that you can be able to use in managing your projects. So for you to be able to enroll for this masterclass, you can reach out and we'll be happy to help you. In case of any question, comments, you can also reach out and we'll be happy to help you and realign appropriately. Thank you. Looking forward to engaging you in the next series.